Here come the judges. Welcome to Bible on the Go with Dr. Dan. Wow, the Judges are quite a book. It's actually the second of the historical books right behind Joshua. And the Judges, well, it wasn't too long in this 150-year period, somewhere between 1250 and 1100. To do all of the activities in the book of Judges takes about 150 years. It's about that time period after the settlement under Joshua. This was in the land of Palestine or Israel, where all the different tribal allotments had been set up, and each tribe was in charge of their civil governance. And a judge was really a military commander, a civil administrator, and a warrior, and a leader. And God raised them up. And it, frankly, was a very dysfunctional time. There was one area led by a judge that God would raise up when there was trouble, and God would deliver them, and then they'd have peace and prosperity, while there was dysfunction in another one, and God would have to raise up a different judge, and there was war, and that judge would deliver them. But it was rare that all the tribes in that tribal confederation ever had peace all the way through. And Judges 17:6 clearly tells us the situation. In those days, there was no king in Israel. There had never been a king in Israel other than God. But the problem was the second part of this verse. But every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Oh, so now we see the sin nature took over, and the false measure of what was right in their own eyes, every man did what was right in his own eyes, that by itself tells you that it was dysfunctional. But I have to tell you about my first favorite judge. There were several of these mentioned who were fantastic judges. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They were helped with the angel of the Lord and with the help of the Lord, but they only get like one verse, and I've got one of those in Judges 10:1. After Abimelech, there arose to save Israel Tola, the son of Puah, son of Dodo, a man of Issachar, and he lived at Shamgar in the hill country of Ephraim. That's it. That's all we know about Tola. Well, at least we know he was the son of a dodo. That's just funny to say. But, of course, that was appropriate at the time. No doubt the man's name was Dodo. But what makes this judge special is he was a man of Issachar, which in another part of the Bible we are told that the men of Issachar were mighty warriors before the Lord. So, Judges 10:1, to save Israel, Tola, the son of Puah, son of Dodo. Okay? But this other one, now I'm going to enjoy reading this to you because he's a well-known one, but it was where he was found that makes it kind of my favorite, simply because this judge didn't have the credibility to be a judge, but because the Lord empowered him, he was able to do the work. Beginning in Judges 6:11 down to verse 14. Now the angel of the Lord, you know it's going to be big when the angel of the Lord shows up. The angel of the Lord came and sat under the terebinth at Ophrah, which belonged to Joash the Abiezrite, while his son Gideon was beating out wheat in the winepress to hide from the Midianites. He didn't want to engage the Midianites. He wanted to hide from them. He was scared of them, and because they were scary. He didn't know how he was going to manage with Midianites, as we'll find out in verse 12. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him. And this is what's so grand. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, "The Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor." Oh, yes. Oftentimes what God sees as our potential is not something that we ever see as our potential. And the Lord saw something in him, which is why the angel of the Lord came down to tell him so. And Gideon, he had a lot on his plate. He had a lot he was thinking about. Verse 13, Gideon said to him, "Please, my Lord, if the Lord is with us, why then has all this happened to us? And where are all the wonderful deeds that our fathers recounted to us, saying, did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt?" Wow, isn't that great? It tells you what the narrative was and what they were told about the great event of the Exodus from Egypt and how the Lord is with them. It says, "Did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and given us into the hand of Midian." He had already accepted defeat. And the Lord turned to him and said, "Go in this might of yours and save Israel from the hand of Midian. Do not I send you?" Oh, how powerful, how great. Even with Gideon's faulty perspective on the potential for the Lord's deliverance, the Lord stood by him and the Lord encouraged him. If you keep reading, you find out the Lord gave him all the instructions about what to do, even answering his fleeces that he set out before the Lord. And the Lord was with Gideon, and the Lord gave Gideon a tremendous victory because the Lord was with him. Well, that's the book of Judges. There's lots of them in there, like Samson, like Deborah, like Ibzan. Read the book of Judges and see how the Lord helped his people during a very difficult and challenging time. Thanks for watching Bible on the Go, Dr. Dan. If you like these videos, the best thing you can do is hit that button called subscribe. It doesn't cost a single thing, and you only have to do it once. Praise God!